All right, yet another qualifying match. We have Insulinado versus Vygg. So let's see who will be able to take home that third spot for the Invitational. Actually, totally last minute. Was not yet open to A-Rax. Don't mess up and drink from it. It looks like
all right, that almost made me
game one. Yeah, I almost just be laughing. Game one is gonna get started. You have give me a minute, and Boulevard, I hand it over to your very capable hands.
I am a very capable solo caster. It's what I do for a lot of these things. The problem is that he left while I'm in the middle of opening deck lists, and I guess I really only need to find the two that are going to be on the screen here. Should be a pretty standard Twisted Fate Swain versus a pretty standard Endure Spiders, as we do see the solo Callista champion. Yeah, this is sort of the list that everybody's been running for a while. You know what it looks like. You love to see it. And there hasn't been a lot of representation of they who endure so far across Top Cut or even the tournament in general. It feels like we've really gone towards a much more late game approach to the Freljord Shadow Isle combination. A lot of War Mother's control, a lot of Trundle Ladros combo coming out the TLC deck. That said, Endure was the third most popular deck in the tournament and was the most popular Freljord Shadow Isle deck. So players still not really willing to give this one up, and it does have a really good matchup in the Twisted Fate Swain. This is going to be an uphill battle for Vygg from the start because generally the TF Swain deck doesn't actually have a way to answer the Endure. You're really relying on Noxian Guillotine, but unless you have two copies of that card, you're still vulnerable to the Atrocity. And I think we've seen this matchup a couple of times on the weekend. I want to say Endure is like 4-0 on the weekend on camera so far. So we're going to get a pretty slow start from these players. It is just going to be a Bark Beast to start things off, and this could be the lead into a pretty big combo turn out of Insulinado. So many times you get that Bark Beast on one into the Cursed Keeper and the Ravenous Butcher, and things just start to pop off. You're firing off on all cylinders, a lot of damage pushed through early. Ooh, Make It Rain could be big, and I think there, as weird as this sounds, there is merit to firing off the Make It Rain here. Yes, I like this out of Vygg. Heads up play, playing around that Ravenous Butcher, understanding that you're going to take 4 damage, but otherwise you could potentially be taking a lot more, especially since the blocker you would develop in this House Spider really doesn't get a lot of value. So this is a... Am I pronouncing this wrong?
What, Insulinado?
No, Vygg.
Is it not Vygg?
I thought it was Vygg.
I'm pretty sure it's Vygg. I mean...
Okay, I thought...
I'm not going to lie. I was really considering just sitting here and not saying anything and seeing how long you would go for. So
I could go forever. I've solo casted multiple
I know. So thank you very much. I am a new man. And now this coffee I can actually drink next to me because I was avoiding drinking it. So this is great.
So let me fill you in on what happened here so far. Insulinado went turn 1 into turn 2 Bark Beast Cursed Keeper, and Vygg fired off the 10-headed Make It Rain to deny the Ravenous Butcher play into the big combo turn.
Wow, and it worked out, it looks like. So that is good. All right. So good for Vygg here. I'm actually going to try to get both decks pulled up as well, so I know what the heck I am talking about here. And
it's pretty normal TF Swain versus pretty normal Endure Spiders.
Okay.
Let me check. Make sure there's no Jack the Winner or something coming out. Only one Riptide Rex. I feel like that's sort of the one thing that we've seen players go back and forth on in this TF Swain deck. Is I've seen a lot of decks that are 2 House Spider, 2 Riptide, and a lot of them that are 3 House Spider, 1 Riptide.
Yeah, I don't know how crazy I am about 1 Riptide Rex. Like, I feel like that's kind of almost one of the win conditions of the deck. So I do like to see at least 2 in there. But, I mean, it's clearly been working out thus far in the tournament. So we'll see if it's going to serve him well in this game. And, okay, here we go. Now I got everything up nice and good. The Twisted Fate Swain on the side of Vygg and this Endure on the side of Insulinado here. Oh, did I? Yeah, so it's just Callista in this Endure, huh? With
Yeah, that's pretty normal for what we've been seeing over the last couple of weeks. Pretty much the entirety of patch 1.8 since the release of Targon. This has been the list that players have kind of settled on.
Oh, and Shark Chariot is... Wait, okay.
Popped out of the Warden spread.
Okay, that set me for a loop. I was like, I guess that could be in this deck.
That's actually really big. Because not only do you have things
Stalking
like the Blighted
Shadows.
Caretaker, but Stalking
Yep.
Shadows now, it gives you that extra ephemeral unit. And anytime we see that come down, there's going to be a shark alongside it. And that also continues to fuel the Endure. I was talking a little earlier about how this is a big uphill matchup for the TF Swain. I don't think we've seen it actually pick up a win against Endure. And that Shark Chariot is going to make it all that much harder.
Yeah, and I think, we've, mentioned earlier how They Who Endure is kind of stuck around in every format, even after Endure being nerfed a little bit and things like that, now costing 7 instead of 6. And I think one of the reasons in this format anyways that it has stuck around is Stalking Shadows. I mean, one of the things this deck needs is draw. Glimpse Beyond was always a very important tool for the deck itself, and having Stalking Shadows added not only provides more draw, even though it's only one, but it provides extra copies of crucial cards, and basically every follower in this deck is just good to get a copy of. Every single one of them. So you're always going to hit something good with Stalking Shadows.
All right, for 20 seconds, I'm going to leave this just to you, SJW.
All right, we're trading off here. I like how this is going. So we do have... looks like Insulinado, considering some of their options right now, has a Legion Grenadier and the Spiraling on the field. Not sure what he's thinking about playing here for this 3 mana. Be interesting to see. Vygg going into turn 6 here. Actually, the attack token going to go over to Insulinado as well. So I wonder if... oh, there we go. I was going to say, it was taking quite some time. It looks like the Unspeakable Horror is actually going to go ahead and come out to kill the keg. Prevent the utilization of that with any of these damage dealing spells like these 2 Death's Hand in Vygg's hand. So we'll see if that's going to matter in this this coming turn here. Ravenous Flock coming out on the side of Vygg. Not going to get a whole lot done yet, but this Swain might be able to put in a lot of work on Vygg's field right here. Right now, the only fearsome blocker is the Legion Grenadier. So we'll likely have to trade with a Swain, but it can also get picked off by one of these Death's Hands. So if Insulinado doesn't play any more fearsome blockers, it'd be interesting to see if Vygg is going to go ahead and try to get an attack through with this Swain on his following attack turn going into turn 7. We do see the Ravenous Butcher come out, so plenty of fearsome blockers now. Not going to really have to worry about that Swain, and we'll see if Insulinado is going to go for a pretty big attack here on turn 6.
And we don't see any kind of keg generation on the side. Well, we see a keg generator on the side of Vygg in the Petty Officer, but we don't see sort of the follow-up that you would want into a board like this, either the Make It Rain or the Twisted Fate. But, I mean, we do have the Leviathan on the following turn, or not the following turn, but turn 8, as we are going to get into that. Instead, another keg generator. And do you know how far this Swain is from leveling?
No, I do not. I want to say he's at around 6 out of 12 just because of the arrow. But again, Spectator.
5 out of 12.
Oh, 5 out of 12. Okay, pretty close.
Thank you, Vygg.
Yep. So he heard us. Maybe he is listening. I wonder if they do sometimes just keep the stream up.
I mean, we're deafened.
Yeah. But... wait, are we? Are we, though? Hold on. Let me just make sure.
Discord is telling me
I am. Okay, Discord says I am. If that's a lie, then Discord, fix your stuff. So.
But, I mean, what can Vygg really get done on this turn? If you go in for a full-out attack, you're just going to lose most of your board, which does sort of favor Insulinado because this is an Endure deck, and the Endure could even come down this turn. You really don't want to feed the Endure going into that. We are just going to see an open pass from Insulinado saying, you know what, if you want to attack, take out my board, that's fine. I'll throw a big Endure at you, and we'll see how that one rocks. You're not going to be able to handle it super well.
Yeah, Noxian Fervor drawn on the side of Vygg as well. See if he's able to use that to his advantage here. It does have the keg, so we could push quite a bit of damage with the keg. I'm trying to think of how this goes over the next couple of turns, right? Because Insulinado not really able to attack. There's plenty of blockers on the side of Vygg's field. Actually going to right over the keg here with the Leviathan. But having the Leviathan Swain, obviously, as we know, is a pretty big deal. We'll see if Insulinado has any way of dealing with it. And I got to think, I don't think there'll be anything. He would have to use an atrocity to actually kill it. And I don't think that's going to be a thing right now.
Probably not, but I don't know how worried you are about it. We are kind of at a point where Insulinado is going to need the Endure and the Atrocity to end the game, and the Endure is not big enough on its own, so we're going to have to push through an attack first. And this is good to know that if Vygg rather had gone for the attacks last turn, I mean, this Endure could be as big as a 13-13 right now. And with Unspeakable Horror in the deck, there is a little bit more of extra reach. We see that Legion Grenadier on field, so Vygg is basically at 15 at the moment. And I mean, you don't want to block with your Leviathan, you don't want to block with your Swain, but this does mean that double flock can actually kill it this turn, and I think that's going to be the play out of Vygg.
Yeah, and it looks like we are going to get Ravenous Flock coming down. Did you just double flock, or do we get some Noxian Fervor action in here?
I think it's just going to be double flock.
I mean, you'd have to fervor Swain or Leviathan. I don't really
But
think you want to put damage onto either. So
no, so the reason you space it out is because if you throw both of them at it and your opponent responds with Glimpse Beyond, then that's 8 damage that you missed out on the Swain level up. If you do it one at a time, then you're at least getting 4 damage pushed onto the Swain. Why didn't the Swain level?
Swain, wait, I'm watching the level animation.
Yeah, but I mean, why didn't he level on the Ravenous Flocks? Wasn't he at 5 out of 12?
No, so I remember when you said that. I think it was 3 when you actually said 5.
Was it 3? That makes more sense. Yep. So we go up to 11. Yeah, that's it. I guess the 5 and the 3 look a little similar.
Yeah. So we do see a Twisted Fate in hand as well. So again, another card that Insulinado might not necessarily be able to deal with right away as far as removing it. But as long as Swain Leviathan's on the field now, he's not really going to be able to do anything with attacking with They Who Endure. But
I'm pretty sure this is just going to be lethal out of Vygg because this is going to stun the Ravenous Butcher. If Insulinado plays anything, we do have 2 Death's Hand that'll follow up and stun out more units. And the Spiderling cannot block the Swain. The Leviathan has Overwhelm and that 3 damage start of round. So I think Vygg is actually going to beat the odds and take this game number 1.
Yeah, this red card just devastating. Not only kills 2 things on the field, but like you said, stuns out everything else. And even with 12 mana, I mean, Insulinado, this whole deck with They Who Endure just really has one strategy. So when it comes to going wide, if your opponent is going wide and you're the one playing the They Who Endure deck, you basically ignore it. And you just try to go for your strategy of blocking with things and getting a bigger They Who Endure and trying to get that atrocity off, but not even going to be able to make it to that turn. Even just has to play a Glimpse Beyond here and pretty much probably, I mean, maybe he's trying to draw into the atrocity or something like that, but won't have the mana to actually get down the They Who Endure and atrocity on this turn before the attack gets through.
No, he will not. I'm struggling to think of anything that Insulinado could actually draw here that's going to make a difference. And we're even just going to deny the draw with the Death's Hand, or at least consider it. I don't think he really likes the way that one pairs out and understands that there's really nothing that my opponent can draw. I'd rather save my stuns for when he gets down additional units.
Yeah, and we have red card going off. Just going to see this attack go off. I agree with you. I think this is just game, right? I mean, there's actually nothing Insulinado can do with 10 mana, right? Doom Beast doesn't really...
No, Doom Beast does nothing.
Hey, it heals him for 2.
Oh, it heals him for 2.
I'm thinking of outs, man. That's what our job is, okay? We need to figure out some way Insulinado wins this.
Then tell me an out.
Okay.
Not a little...
Pot of Greed.
Here's a little Band-Aid.
Pot of Greed into... What gains mana?
Insulinado is currently staring down an Armada, and you said put a Band-Aid on it.
Hey, Pot of Greed's never a bad card in any situation, okay? Oh, wait, that's right. Never mind. It's banned for this tournament. I forgot.
Yeah, that is true. For those of you that weren't aware, we actually did ban Pot of Greed for this event.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. No Pot of Greed allowed. I know. I was kind of disappointed as well. We really talked to the TOs and tried to convince them otherwise. It just didn't work.
I mean, this gets a lot of blockers on the field. The problem is that you need, like, Swain and Leviathan are the only things that need to hit here.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And you still have no blockers for the Swain, mostly because the game is going to end when either the turn ends and Leviathan hits Insulinado for the 3, or just the sheer amount of burn that Vygg has available to him. Could even go for like a Petty Officer into a Noxian for 4 damage if that is a situation that has to come up. But this is representing 12 on its own between the Swain and Leviathan hit. That will just end the game at the start of round. I don't think Insulinado has anywhere near enough healing to get in this. Certainly not going to be able to end the game before this all plays out.
Yeah, it looks like gonna take 4, 7, 8, 9 damage. Not if you block. All right, yeah, plus the overwhelm. So this is rough for Insulinado here. It looks like Vygg is gonna be able to take home this game. And wow, this TF Swain. I don't know why. Even for a millisecond, when we were casting day 1, rounds 1, 2, and 3, we were like, "Huh, this is odd." We don't really see any TF Swain. Well, pretty sure those people we casted, besides hyped in the first 3 rounds, didn't actually even make top cut, so that stands to reason. It's probably because they're not playing TF Swain, because every single lineup, I think for the most part in this tournament, in the top cut, we have seen a TF Swain deck in everybody's lineup. That's not gonna do anything.
Oh, we saw Pirate Aggro.
In top cut?
Yeah.
Who was playing that?
We saw Pirate Aggro and we saw Noxus Nab. I'm pretty sure Cephalopod was playing Pirate Aggro.
Cephalopod was? Oh, was it banned out though when he played?
It was banned. Yeah, it was banned.
Okay, gotcha. So for the most part, though, most everybody seems to agree that TF Swain is still a powerhouse of a deck. It is the most played deck in the tournament. And yeah, that is why, because it picks up W's. And Vygg going to go up 1-0 versus Insulinado there going into game 2 now.
And this is really bad for Insulinado. That was supposed to be a good matchup for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. But what even is a good matchup nowadays, Boulevard? What even, like...
It's when I have a higher chance of winning than you.
Yeah, but how many times have we said there's a good matchup and then the absolute opposite of that happens? Like, I feel like good matchups in this game, like, we've talked about this before, too. Some games it's like 80-20. This game it's like 60-40, and the good matchup is 60.
I think because we've watched so many games, like I know Karma Ezreal versus Frostbite Midrange was sort of the big one of patch 1.6, and I always talked about how that's going to be really Karma Ezreal favored. It's going to look a lot closer than it actually is. And then I think only like once or twice that actually bit me in the ass when we saw like a random Ashe OTK come out. But I mean, it's not 100-0. We do actually have to see the TF Swain pick up the win every now and then so that we can say that it has that 30% win rate, which I think currently throughout this tournament, we've seen Endor versus TF Swain a couple of times, and I want to say it's like 1-4 for the TF Swain, maybe 1-5.
Wow, yeah. So we have now War Mothers, right? Yep. War Mothers versus They Who Endure. I don't actually remember seeing this specific matchup today or yesterday.
No, we haven't seen it yet, although I am pretty excited for it. The sort of early game aggression out of Insulinado not going to get a whole lot done. You know, that sort of backup win con of your Callista and your sacrificial package doesn't pair super well into things like Avalanche and Withering Wail, but it has to be sort of two of those in conjunction. The big thing is that you don't have any way to stop the ramp. You're not a sort of deep deck where you have that Jaw Hunters that can come down and kill the Wording Stone, but Vygg doesn't actually open with any copies of that card. Had to make sure that he was running Wording Stone. I know that for a little while players were cutting copies of that, but something I want to talk about here. She Who Wanders will obliterate copies of They Who Endure in hand.
Yeah, that's actually something I completely forgot earlier on, too. It does actually affect in hand as well, so I'm curious to see if that will come into play a little bit later with She Who Wanders. I mean, there is... How many copies of the She Who Wanders? It looks like just one.
The one.
Yeah, just one.
Just the one, but I'm not even sure we're going to get there given Vygg's hand with the triple Troll Chant, the double Atrocity. This is... Okay, Wording Stone is kind of step one of what we needed. I think Catalyst would have even been preferable, but now we need something to actually ramp into as we are still quite a ways away from this War Mother's call.
Yeah, not going to lie. Well, I mean, Wording Stone's definitely going to get him there a little bit faster, right? We do see his hand. 2 Atrocity, 3 Troll Chant. So what do we do with these Troll Chants, Boulevard?
We're going to try and say that Callista deals a little bit less damage to us.
I mean, all right. Oh, okay.
This is not good for Vygg. This could just be the quickest game that we've actually seen all tournament.
I got to agree with you. I mean, this is going to be a level Callista. This is probably going to be an open attack. It might not even be. It might actually. Do you get punished by developing? We do have. I'm trying to see. We have Ruination.
We are on Ruination Mana.
We are on Ruination Mana. So.
But do we play Ruination?
There's 2.
Okay. There was a War Mothers player in Europe that actually wasn't playing any copies of Ruination, which blew my mind.
Yeah, but... That's a little weird. But yeah, we are going to get this open attack here. The Withering Wail actually helps a lot, so that is good. That was drawn by Vygg early on here, but that's about the extent of the good part of his hand. We will hopefully see Trundle next turn, so the Trundle should help to start to stabilize things, but this is definitely going to be an uphill battle for Vygg. This is a little rough here.
I'm trying to quickly do math on how big this Endor is going to be if it does come down in the next couple of turns. I know it's less than 10. I got that much going for me. I think it's around an 8-8 or a 9-9 at this point, maybe a 7-7 even. When Stalking Shadows could get us there. That was a pretty quick take on the side of Insulinado, so pretty confident in the choice that he did pick up there. It could even be a Doom Beast, and it is a Doom Beast actually, going to help push a little bit of burn damage onto Vygg's face, who is honestly out of healing in their hand at this point.
Yeah, and like I said, Vygg is definitely uphill battle here. There's really no choice but to just smash down the Trundle here. And you know what, Vygg, thank you for just playing the Trundle and not roping and acting like, we're going to spend 10 minutes thinking about what we're going to play next. But yeah, Trundle going to hit the field. I can't get over this hand.
I love the look of this hand though, where like you've got Trundle on board,
Yeah.
and then in the background you've got the three trolls with their hands in the air, kind of cheering them on. I'm not sure that Trundle's going to be able to get it done, but I don't really hate Vygg's position. This Callista is a bit of a problem, but with the troll chance, you might be able to hang on for a little bit longer than anyone. Oh, Mentor of the Stones, that's an insane rip off of
Wow.
one of these. Warden's Prey, that card is so good. It looks like we're actually going to throw a Bark Beast under the bus rather than take this initial 4 damage. I feel like we see this a lot. A lot of players playing more aggressive decks sitting at 20 life and just don't want to take that first Trundle hit. I understand it. There is a lot of overwhelm coming out of these War Mother's decks these days, but does he actually have an answer for the Trundle? Not a lot of removal. No Atrocity mana.
Hapless Aristocrat coming down. I mean, yeah, Vygg, honestly, next turn too, Vygg will be able to smash down the Tryndamere if he wants.
Finally get some Troll Chant
Yeah,
value.
here's the one good thing. Yep, I'm going to be able to prevent this spear from actually getting any value. Holy God, when is the last time you actually saw a black spear, like, played?
Ooh, I mean, I don't think we've seen it this tournament. We've definitely seen it in the past.
Patch 1.1?
I mean, no, because we see multiple Callistas come out all the time, but yeah, as far as main deck, it's been a minute.
Oh, hold on 1 second.
Is that to me?
Yeah. No. I'm talking to myself. Sometimes I do that. I apologize.
Okay. I thought we dropped the stream, and I was like, oh no.
No. Nope. Absolutely not. So.
Had me scared there. All right, so this is probably just going to be a block onto the Callista. That's going to save a fair amount of damage, and then the Wording Stone going to get thrown under the bus here, which is a little bit scary because this means you don't get down the War Mothers next turn. I mean, you do have your other Wording Stone, so maybe that's the consideration we're going on. And I mean, are you even in a position necessarily where you feel safe going for the War Mothers? I feel like you have to. You don't actually have removal for the Endure. Bluffs are cool and all, but when you're getting down to it, if you're not actually bluffing anything, I'm a little surprised to see. Huh. Okay. So we're going to play it a little safe on the Trundle, proactively going for the Troll Chant. I thought we might see it to save the Wording Stone, but instead we are just going to, preserve the life total a little bit, let that one die. As I had said, it can get down the extra Wording Stone in the hand, and that'll still leave something like the War Mothers on the table for the next turn. Could go for the Tryndamere here instead and just try to push a lot of damage and get a potential lethal with the Atrocity on the following turn, but we see an Endure down as an 8/8, and that is actually just going to die to an attack from the Tryndamere. Even Atrocity is not going to be lethal thanks to that third Troll Chant, or even just an Atrocity of Vygg's own throwing itself into that Endure to stop the Atrocity.
Hey, you want to go ahead and take it over for a second? I'm going to deal with this.
Yeah, absolutely. So here, this is what we're going to see. It is the Tryndamere lining up on to this They Who Endure. Insulinado, I would assume, has the Atrocity, and that's why we threw it down. Otherwise, I mean, this was all kind of public information. You knew that this was going to get vulnerable. There's a good chance that the Trundle even would be able to take it out, and maybe we were going for a trade from the Endure onto the Trundle. If that's not the case, the Tryndamere will take it out. And as I had mentioned, this what was originally a very weak opening hand from Vygg, is actually going to play out pretty well for him. He got value out of all of these Troll Chants. The double Atrocity, not, super ideal, but will actually be able to end the game next turn if that is a route that things end up playing out, as, Vygg is going to deal 5 damage here on this Trundle Overwhelm. Going to get him down to 15, and I mean, things working out pretty well for Vygg, and this is just speaking to the power of this War Mother's controlled deck. Looks like, yep, it is just going to be the trade. No Atrocity even coming out of Insulinado, so the Tryndamere just going to level, and now we are at the point where we're just threatening the double Atrocity lethal. There were so many lines that Vygg could take to try and take this one away, and it looks like that is going to be the one we're going for. This is 17 damage represented. We know that Insulinado has another Bark Beast. We could see a situation where the second Bark Beast comes down now, puts him up to 17, and something like an Unspeakable Horror or Vile Feast could put him just out of range. But I think, if we see another Endure come down here, then suddenly we are into some mind games, and these Atrocities can get fired back and forth. But I think Vygg, having that Catalyst of Aeons available, does mean that he will be just outside of the range of the Atrocity, as I think the Endure is going to be a 10-10 for the moment, and that is not quite enough. So I might be calling it a little early here, but I do think that Vygg should be able to pick this one up. Insulinado is on the ropes and roping. You only have a few seconds left, my friend. Ravenous Butcher's not what I expected. I thought we were going for some kind of bigger play here out of Insulinado, so we're just going to see the Catalyst out of Vygg. Doesn't really need to hold open mana for anything, as the double Atrocity can come down on the following turn, or can go for a War Mothers if he wants to play this a little different. Here is the Endure, and now that is actually up to an 11-11, thanks to that Ravenous Butcher coming down. So this is where things get a little bit scary for Vygg, but I have to imagine that if Insulinado had the Atrocity, then he would have played it last turn. Maybe was just waiting for the big attack turn and says, I need you to go ahead and throw out something onto my Endure first. With so much mana open out of Vygg, you really don't want to lose the Atrocity to the Vengeance. But it's not like Vygg feels super compelled to play anything here either.
And this is why you're a great co-caster, Boulevard. Because I know, yeah, I think that's why we work so well together, because we can both just ramble on and never stop. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. So yeah, looks like I am back in the game now. Vygg.
We are in a very tense situation. Vygg has lethal with the double Atrocity, but if Insulinado has Atrocity as well, that's where things start to get sketchy. Vygg does have to have both units live, and with this Endure on field, you are no longer in a position to slam down that War Mother's Call.
Yeah, and War Mothers, I mean, we see the second one drawn too. This other one's been sitting, chilling in hand for so long, as well as Atrocity. And, you know, we've talked about Atrocity in so many different decks. Obviously, the Nightfall aggro, we tend to agree that Atrocity is good in that deck. In this deck in particular, we've seen it teched a lot as well, because it can obviously be used on something like Tryndamere or even a big Trundle. But
Vygg actually loses. There's another Doom Beast in Insulinado's hand.
But it's really bad to have them early, is what I was getting at. So seeing them all stacked up here, yeah, if there's a Doom Beast in Insulinado's hand, then
yeah, he got it off of a Stalking Shadows and then just only ever played the real version. This is going to be the ephemeral, and that is going to be lethal.
Oof.
And Vygg, I mean, it's possible that he forgot about it. Because I do think if, you just go for that double Atrocity play.
Possibly, yeah, but that is going to go ahead and tie the series up 1-1 here. We are going to see a game 3 from Vygg and Insulinado, so this is pretty cool. Thank God, because I missed both of that original game. So thank you. thank you, chat. I appreciate everybody getting my back there. Thank you. Positivity. That's what we like to keep here in this chat, so I appreciate everybody helping out. Let me know what's good. So, but game 3 here, Vygg versus Insulinado. Looks like we are going to get War Mother again. And do we know what was banned on the side of Insulinado?
We don't. So we're either looking at Pirate Burn or Lux Leon. Oh, never mind. I thought it was Lux Asol because I saw a Demacian Targon champion, but it's actually Lucian Leona.
Wow. Okay. Oh, actually, yeah. So I did see that when I originally.
Yeah, I think we saw this a little earlier. Did we end up playing one of Alucinado's opponents? Because I feel like we saw the very end of a game with this deck.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like it wasn't this exact deck, though. I feel like it was a little bit different. No? I do remember seeing a Lucian deck play. But...
I remember seeing a Lucian Leona deck that just like played a Relentless Pursuit and won in the 10 seconds that we watched it.
Oh, man. So, yeah, but I'm very excited to see this deck play then. It's pretty interesting. We do... All right, everybody, hold your breath for a second. We have 3 War Chefs. 3 War Chefs are in here. And actually,
missed that
while
one.
They're queuing up, I'm going to go ahead and go back to us real quick, Boulevard, because looks like they're taking a second to queue up the War Mother game. So, yeah, just,
yeah, the players get bathroom breaks.
The hair a little bit, make sure we're looking good.
Shit.
So, put that makeup back on. But, yeah, we have...
Did you think I'd take it off between games?
yeah, just that much effort.
I put the eyeliner on, and then as soon as the cameras are off, I just, like, wipe it off, and it's like, oh, no, I gotta get it back on. No, my eyes just look like this. I have beautiful full lashes, and that is just what it is.
Yeah, so definitely going to be pretty cool seeing this Lucian Leona deck get played here. And again, 3 War Chefs. So the guy that everybody thought was getting nerfed into the ground, War Chef, still being a 3 of here in a very, very late game in this tournament. Basically, there's a spot up for grabs for the qualifier, right? For the invitational next week. So seeing War Chefs, is it still actually good? All right, is Insulinado onto something where War Chefs is still actually a playable card? And it looks like we are going to go ahead and get into game 3 here, I should say. Insulinado versus Vygg. Let's go.
So here's what I want to talk about, this interaction that might have gone over your head if you're just taking a very quick look at the list. Something that's always been sort of a favorite cheese deck of a lot of players is taking advantage of double strike and Overwhelm. We see it currently out of the Kickaxe decks, the Horn of the Dragons that we'll typically see as a backup win con next to the Kato and Might. Here we have Zenith Blade alongside Lucian and Senna. So we do still have that sort of Overwhelm double strike thing coming out, and I'm pretty sure that's the kind of combos that Insulinado is going to go for. And I don't think he really minds playing War Chef in a deck like that, because there are a fair amount of 2/1s in the format that it can still throw down a block onto, and then still buff up this Lucian or this Senna to represent a 2 additional damage.
And it looks like... All right. So Vygg off to a pretty decent start, though. Has the Wording Stones and the Catalyst of Aeons in hand. So we will likely see a pretty easy ramp up to turn 10 right now. So we'll see if that's the case. But again, Insulinado playing a very aggressive deck. Very curious to see in this matchup. I mean, my gut is to tell me that Insulinado has the advantage playing something like Lucian Leona like this. But we'll see. We'll see how fast Vygg is able to ramp and stay in this game.
Has this ever happened to you? You're playing against your opponent in a game of Legends of Runeterra, and they get a Senna and Lucian downs alongside each other, and you think, well, how the heck is a rational person going to deal with this? The answer is Avalanche, and that is a card that Vygg plays.
Yeah, Avalanche is going to be pretty huge in this matchup. This is unfortunately not Elites. So Avalanche will actually be useful. As we saw versus Elites, it actually does basically nothing. So, so we'll see what happens here and whether or not Avalanche is going to come in clutch for Vygg early on. And Insulinado has the Solari Soldier now hitting the field. It kind of feels bad. Wow, so Insulinado really just going wide to try to do as much as possible, as quickly as possible, and really just go in.
Vygg's still not finding that Avalanche. I feel like there are a lot of times when I'm playing aggro versus any kind of Freljord deck, I'm just like, okay, the question is, do I go wide in the early game and lose to Avalanche? Do I try to play a more mid-game focused strategy? Insulinado is betting it all on the line here with the go wide, and Vygg does not have the punish available just yet.
Yeah, and we'll see what Insulinado decides to do. I imagine thinking about an open attack. So it gets blown out by Avalanche. Like, just gets straight blown out by Avalanche.
Vygg doesn't play Avalanche.
Oh, Vygg is not. Wait, so why did Avalanche come
why
up?
Why is he not playing
yeah,
Avalanche?
Wait, what? You baited me, Boulevard. You baited me into thinking this man plays Avalanche. What have you done?
You know how many War Mother's control decks I have open right now? We've been firing off back and forth between the games.
So if...
That's my bad, everybody. That's my bad, which means, yeah, I think Insulinado is going to be very heavily favored here. We do have the Ruination available next turn.
Wow, okay. Wait, with no Avalanche, I'm actually curious as to why Insulinado didn't develop. Unless he just doesn't have
probably
anything.
Trundle.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you don't just want to run straight into that.
Okay. I mean, are you that worried about it to not actually go ahead and develop? I don't know, but
yeah, I mean, because oh, never mind. If I had Leona,
okay.
If I had Leona, why was I scared of Trundle? Never mind.
Yeah, especially with Leona. Well, with Leona, the Trundle has to hit first. So he would have had to pass and then have the Trundle come down.
That's just a straight pass back on the side of Vygg. One of the fastest pass backs in his life.
Yep. So okay, that makes a little bit more sense on the side of Insulinado, but we do see the Aversion Hearth card come down and pretty early as well. Going to be able to buff up a lot of those cards in Vygg's decks, a lot of those followers and champs, and this is not a bad hand on the side of Vygg, especially already being
a lot better than the last one.
Yeah. only one Atrocity in Troll Chant instead of 2 Atrocity, 3 Troll Chant this time. So, oh man. So we'll see what Insulinado decides to do. I mean, already being at 12 on the side of Vygg, I do think that Insulinado is in a great spot here. This Vile Feast. So we actually talk a lot about Vile Feast versus Unspeakable Horror, right? And I think this is a perfect example as to a situation where Vile Feast is actually incredible right now, because if this were Unspeakable Horror, you're not guaranteed to get a unit you can actually play as a chump blocker.
He is.
Oh my god, wait, is that a 1? Is that a 1?
The chefs.
Is that a 1? Is that...
I'm trying to remember War Chef's voice line. It's been so long since I've heard my sweet boys talk. Oh, it's been days even. I can't remember what he says on summon or on attack.
All right, so we'll see if War Chefs is able to get some value here. Very curious. I mean, I don't think do you ever put the Aversion Hearthguard in front of the War Chefs to kill it? Like, are you prioritizing killing the War Chefs?
I think you're just trying to preserve as much life as possible here. And then if you really want to, I mean, this isn't a bad ruination. There's not a whole lot of top end out of Insulinado's deck. There's no Cytherea the Bold. There are 3 Genevieve Elm Hearts. But unless, okay, here's where things actually do get scary. And here's why I can respect not ruinationing. If you do, all your little blockers and you throw everything out and whatnot, and then you do play your ruination, if Insulinado's hand is Genevieve Relentless Pursuit, you lose.
Oh yeah, 100%. That is just game over if that's the case. And that's actually very likely. I mean, there's 2 Relentless Pursuit, 3 Genevieve. That could very well be what we see here in a second. I do apologize. It looks like there's a little bit of a delay in Vygg and Insulinado. It's like kind of, lagging a little bit, but we're getting through it. So if you guys do see it pause, that's why, but it does seem to be catching up pretty regularly here. And I just want to mention something. So I saw so many people in chat.
Oh,
wow, yeah.
Hold on, this is 10-headed. So you start with the Relentless Pursuit, and this sort of forces the ruination out of Vygg, theoretically. And then if you play the Genevieve after the fact, can Vygg hold on without having to use the ruination? I feel like the answer is yes. I feel like the Grasp of the Undying and the Troll Chant and the Hearthguard are going to give him enough. I think he's actually fine here, doesn't have to use the ruination.
Oh, this is so... Yeah, that's very smart on the side of Insulinado to go ahead and play that Relentless Pursuit first. Now he's outside of the ruination mana. Now, do we see the Genevieve here? There it is. You called it, Boulevard. We have the Relentless and the Genevieve. Kind of the dream setting up here for Insulinado in these first few turns. Is this just... I mean, we do have Grasp of the Undying, but is this still just game?
I don't think so. I mean, Genevieve can clear out 1 blocker. Let me run some numbers here. I feel like we're going to live at 3 thanks to the Grasp of the Undying is sort of my final answer on the matter.
Yeah, it looks like, yep, pull the Wording Stone to be able to attack again. You could trade with the Hearthguard and actually, yeah, no, actually less. 6, you live at 6, I think.
Oh, probably. Yeah. I was probably thinking about a block onto the Warchef.
Wow.
See, I'm a little surprised that we didn't pull... I mean, I guess you want to kill both units on the side of Vygg. Yeah. I thought we might try to preserve the Genevieve, but I guess it's probably not worth it when you're playing against a deck that has, a lot of 1 damage removal spells. So, yeah, kind of a weak board left on the side of Insulinado, but it does represent lethal damage. Oh, no, it's 1 shy of lethal if we have a Relentless Pursuit even. Yep. Oh, and another Ruination picked up. But Vygg doesn't have a whole lot of gas in the tank. If we see Tryndamere, and then Insulinado has a Relentless Pursuit and another unit, that could just be... Oh,
is this Relentless?
This is terrifying. Oh. This is so scary for Vygg right now.
Oh, my God.
That Leona generally isn't coming out on my off turn unless I have... The Relentless follow-up here is the pass from Vygg.
Oh, my, no Relentless. Okay, no, just going wide, though. This might still be able to do it.
Just going for the open attack. Going for the open attack, yeah. Which should not be enough because we have the Troll Chant. In worst case scenario, we kind of have this oh shit button of the atrocity that we can use as a removal spell if we need to.
Yeah, here we go. We are getting the open attack here. We'll see where the Tryndamere lines up the block. I imagine onto the Leona. And like you said, this Troll Chant will still keep Vygg in this game. This is really a huge push from Insulinado to just be the aggressor and get the job done here. But just 1 damage off. Wow, and I don't think there's anything that...
Well, there's Pale Cascades.
Oh, there is Pale Cascades. Oh, no.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Okay, cool.
Woo! Woo! That would have been close. The no Pale Cascade. We see the Unspeakable Horror, possibly. Nope, not going to be used. These 2 Ruination. Again, Ruination not exactly the best card against this aggressive of a deck.
But now, all of a sudden, Insulinado could just die here. I mean, Vygg is representing lethal damage right now. If he attacks, if he goes for the open attack and the Warchef blocks, we go down to 10. Tryndamere does not die, actually.
Tryndamere doesn't do
Tryndamere needed to die in this scenario. Oh, this is really bad. This is really bad for Insulinado. The Tryndamere dies, and that means Atrocity is lethal. Yep. I thought we were going to be 1 off and needed the Unspeakable Horror, but no, just the Atrocity is going to do it. Is Vygg going to win this one at 1 HP?
Do you know what's really interesting? We've seen this happen so many times where that 1 extra attack out of the Tryndamere is just enough to be lethal with Atrocity.
And I think the Warchef block would have saved him because the Tryndamere wouldn't have died and you would have taken 1 less damage, but now the Atrocity is going to lock in. Yep. Let me take a look at the deck list, but I don't think there's anything Insulinado can do.
Nope. Absolutely nothing. There is no response that Insulinado can have to this. Zenith Blade, Relentless, they all do nothing. This is just going to be Atrocity for the game. GG.
Insulinado is still thinking, maybe lining up how many, and that's just it. Vygg is moving on to the qualifier, or through the qualifier into the invitational.
What a game between Insulinado and Vygg. 3 games, but Vygg gonna take it and get his shot to go to the invitational next week. Wow, that was insane. All right, it looks like Vygg, congratulations to Vygg, gonna move on to the invitational. Again, good to see some new faces. I have not seen Vygg around at many of these DOR tournaments, so good to see some new faces. And as always, everybody, until the next qualifying match goes live, stay healthy, stay positive. I hope shit just works for you. Peace out.